Well, hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Leese.
And I'm Jonathan Byer, and I always wear my Roots sweater when I know we're going to have a Canadian person on.
Oh, I'm so honored.
Yeah. So, Meagan, this is
Root
you.
are few companies from Canada, clothing companies that's Canadian.
So, Meagan, this is your first World Championships as a viewer, a skating fan, and not a competitor in a long time. How on earth do you feel?
Oh, I loved it. I freaking loved it. I got a headache because I watched like so much skating. My head was spinning, and I was like, "Who did what? Like, what was four groups of men ago? Like, I don't know how the judges sit through those like 6 hour short program events. How can you like remember what the skater did? Keegan Messing is in group 3, and then 2 hours later, the
Right.
final group is going. I mean, I couldn't keep it all together. I was so confused. But I truly enjoyed watching Worlds from home. I didn't feel one bit like I wanted to be there. I feel very content leaving the competitive skating world behind. I felt like I could just support and encourage and enjoy everybody's performances instead of watching and being like, okay, how can I be better than these teams? I could really just enjoy it, and I found that very nice.
Do you feel tired?
I'm exhausted.
Okay.
After the Olympics, we came home for 4 days. Then we went to Australia and we taught a seminar and did shows for 2 weeks. Then went home and got a new show program choreographed. And now we are in Japan. So I have been like jumping time zones like a crazy man. And I mean, I slept really well last night, but that is no reflection of how I'm going to feel and if I will sleep well again next night.
It's day 2 that'll really be the test,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Like 8 rehearsal days. We're putting together all those Stars and Ice group numbers, and it'll be fun.
so what is your read on Aliona? How on earth did she pull this off here?
You know what? Like, Aliona's my favorite. Like, she is my favorite. She is my idol. But I did not believe that they could do it again.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, like, Teresa and Morozov are going to win. That Candyman is going to be world champion. I didn't think it. Because I feel so empty inside. And then I just imagine Aliona and Bruno feel even emptier than I do and Eric does. So I was like, there's no way. Like, they won't be able to do it. And then they started their long program, and they did that 3-jump combo, which I think is like, it's their hardest thing. And I was like dumbfounded. I was like, holy shit, they're doing it again. Like,
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
unbelievable, because they did a clean long at Skate America, a clean long at the Grand Prix final, a clean long at the Olympics, and probably like hanging on by a string, completely exhausted at Worlds. They freaking did it again.
Yeah.
And I love that he was the one that kind of let it be known that he wanted to be done competing. Like, he was so exhausted. Like, she's been competing since like 1910, and now she is. Like, what is she gonna do when she is like no longer competing? Like, I don't understand what she's gonna do with her.
I think she still wants to compete. I remember last year I was asking her after Worlds, like, so, like, what are you doing right now? Are you going on vacation? And she's like, well, I'm going on a week vacation, but I don't need one. I could just keep going. I want to go back to work. I want to work on more things. And it was like I feel like that too, but I also feel like I enjoy a week or two away from training. I think that she is like a creature from another planet. She's literally the greatest pair skater that has ever been in the world. She could keep going, and I have no doubt that she would keep going and get better. Because look how much better she got in the last few years
Right.
than she was when she previously skated with Robin. I think she's defying every odd of what we think of figure skating.
Now, do you think? I guess, like, do you think she'll coach? Or, like, I don't think that performing in shows could be enough for her. Like, I imagine she'd be a scary coach.
Surprised if they're in a few years we see them. We're back. We want to compete in Beijing.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if they take a short break and then follow that route. Or I should say, she would follow that route. And like, I'm not really sure where Bruno fits in on that. I know that Bruno's in a lot of pain in his back, and he feels extremely satisfied and fulfilled with his career. With just one gold medal, he doesn't feel like he needs more. But I think what Aliona says they will do, and as she's proven to us, she's always right.
Yes.
Right.
Always. She is.
Now, I don't know if there's a time change, and I don't know how fast you're getting your skating information, but Elton John is taking 6 months off, and Robin is just going to be coaching Tarasova and Morozov. But there are also people that say that Elton John is really more of a manager and not the coach anyway. So what is your take on this situation and their performance at Worlds?
Well, first, I think you're right. I think Elton/Nina is the manager of this skating school, for sure. I don't think that she does much coaching. I think she oversees things. Trasva and Morozov, for example, and Stoblova and Klimov, they each have their own separate coach. Mm-hmm. Plus, Trasva and Morozov have Robin. Okay. So they have a Russian man, plus they have Robin coaching them. I think Nina just calls all the final shots. Like, you're skating to Candyman. It's brilliant. It's going to be amazing. This music is beautiful. I think that those are the type of decisions that she makes. So I have heard, like, away but I did think she wasn't feeling well. She wasn't at the Grand Prix final until the final day. She wasn't there for the short programs, which I thought was weird. But, I think Trasva and Morozov showed us again the amazing team that they can be in the short program. Mm-hmm. Once again, top class in every level. Beautiful footwork, beautiful elements, explosive elements. I think maybe like their twist and their throw in or their side-by-side jumps and their twist, they have a few elements that might be better than Aliona and Bruno's. Mm-hmm. When they land a side-by-side triple toe, I think that the Russians have perfection on that. And once again, their long program showed us what their long program showed us. So I hope that they've learned something from that experience. I really do, and I hope that they're going to choose a vehicle that allows them to shine next year, so that we could see maybe a real rivalry between Shui and Han and them in the upcoming year or two. Mm-hmm. But we won't see that if they keep choosing programs like they have been. Right.
So just on a side note, can you talk to me a little bit about Aliona and Bruno's coaching team? These two people, I'm unfamiliar with them and their work, and maybe also they're in a more of a managerial position, or I just didn't know if you had a take on them and if they had other students that thrived under them, or if this was kind of like, it didn't matter who Aliona was with. Obviously, it was going to be what it was going to be.
I think a little bit of that. I think that she's truly running the ship. This man, Jean-Francois, he has been Bruno's coach since Bruno was a baby. And Jean-Francois brought Bruno to our training center many years ago. He trained with us, with one of his old partners. Very, very good singles coach, this man. Bruno Massot did the Junior Grand Prix, all his triples. I really think he's the one who really helped Aliona's jump technique, because as we can see, her triple sow cow has never been consistent like this when she was with Robin. Jean-Francois came from Bruno's team and supported Bruno, and since he was Bruno's coach from the very beginning, I think that was part of the agreement, I think. And Alexander, the other coach, he's been a coach in Germany for some time. He's also a technical specialist. He's done a lot of international events. I believe he may have done Junior Worlds this year as a technical specialist. From what I understand, he's a very good coach, but he plays a good role, like a psychological role. I've read an interview where Aliona said that their team would not have been successful or together without Alexander's part in the team. So I think he really kept them working together on the same team and supporting them. But again, I think all decisions, including if they're going to do a throw triple axel, they're coming from Aliona and not quite from the coaching team.
Now, did you see that picture of Aliona and Tatiana Voloshajar together, like at the makeup mirror with Meryl Davis on tour? And did that surprise you?
I'd like to see that.
I was thinking maybe the competitiveness.
Like, seen the two of like Tatiana and Max, and I watched the video of Art and Ice. I watched Aliona and Bruno, then I watched Tatiana and Max back to back, and I was like, you can't even compare the teams. Like, as I was watching, I was like, there's no way this other one just was an Olympic champion. I think that Aliona and Bruno have changed pair skating and changed the level of pair skating so much.
For sure.
Now, what is your take on what's going on in the North American pair? Let's start with the Americans, because we had a rough World Championships. Let's start with Deanna and Nate. They just missed making the free skate? What do they need to do for next season? Because they are continuing.
You know what? I really, really love Deanna and Nate. I think that they skated very well at Worlds. I think right now, a team like this, it's so hard to make the long program in pairs now. You need something special, or the ISU simply needs to allow 20 teams in the long, because it's not fair. There's too many really, really top level teams that don't make the long program because they're only allowing 16. I think that this is a big problem. I think that they do need to change it to 20. When scores like 63 are the limit, I mean, it wasn't only a few years ago, 63 got me 5th in the short at Worlds. Right. And now it's not making you the long program. Right. So I think that we really need to look at maybe adding more pairs to the long program. In my opinion, what Deanna and Nate should be doing, Deanna and Nate, is they have to go for the side-by-side triplets every time in the short program. And they might for a full year. And you know what? They might lose that year, but they will gain in the future. And this is what Eric and I did. We tried that side-by-side triplets for 2 seasons. And so many officials, Skate Canada, David Dorr from the ISU, who worked for the ISU, told our coaches, why are they doing this? This is ridiculous. Put a triple toe in, they'll land it, they'll skate clean. And Bruno always told them, just wait. One day they will win because they did this. And it paid off. And I feel like a team like Deanna and Nate, they need to take that risk to get the reward in the end. So I hope starting next year, they will be going for that triplet every single time, because it takes a while to get it. It takes a while to get that timing in competition and to get confident. It was such a difficult jump in competition, but having that in the short program will set them apart. Right. You need something to set you apart. They have a nice twist. They have a nice lift. Yes, she could clean up her throw landings a little bit. She's a little sloppy on the throw triple landings. But if you don't have that massive twist, or you don't have this star power, you need something. And I think they need that triplets in their short program.
And I think they're improving choreographically next season. So
going back to this program was very smart for them. This program, when they did at U.S. Nationals, a beautiful program. I think they're like gelling. You could see everything coming together to have a great skate and still not have it be enough. You need to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, like, what is it that they want? What is it that's going to set us apart? And to me, that's what it could be. They have the ability. Why not?
Now, what do you make of Alexa and Chris? Because they, had the school shooting incident at the Olympics, blaming their long
shooting incident.
Yeah, blaming it on that. Here, Chris landed all of his jumps at the Olympics, and this time Alexa is not the one to land things. She also, once again, missed a lot of practice. There was talk that she missed a lot of practice at the Olympics. She missed a lot of practice again here. Chris, they missed a full day of practice. He practiced one practice session without her, and they were both, not on another one day. What is your take on them? They're practicing at events. What, is that situation?
Well, I wasn't at Worlds.
Okay.
So I don't know personally what happened at Worlds. I know at the Olympics one day, Chris did a practice session by himself. I know that in past competitions, we've seen her not do all the official practices. As for Worlds, I don't know. I was not there. I could only see what I could see through my computer and what my husband was telling me, and he was there. One of the things that Bruno did tell me while he was at Worlds during practice sessions was that everyone was a hot mess. He said, like, these are some of the worst practice sessions I've ever seen at a World Championship. all around on every level. Like, he said Kirsten was falling on a triple toe, which is extremely rare. Alexa was missing every throw. The Germans didn't really try anything. Like, Bruno said that these practices were a gong show at World. So the fact that, people came through with strong performances, I think was a miracle a little bit. So that's all I know about practices was everybody was bad in practice. It's hard to put your finger on what it is with Alexa and Chris, because in isolation, they seem to have everything that's necessary.
The ingredients seem to be there.
Yeah, everything is there, and it's just not put together. I don't really know. I don't know how they train. I don't know what their training center is like. I've never been to that training center in Colorado. I mean, I don't really know Delilah more than to say hello to her. So I'm not familiar with these type of things in their environment. But when you see like it, we see Chris can land great jumps, and Chris landed beautiful jumps at the Worlds. He also landed a lot at the Olympics, but he landed every jumping pass very strong, plus GOE here. She can land nice throws. We've seen beautiful world-class throws, world-class twist, nice lifts. So it makes me wonder what's going on maybe behind the scenes. I don't understand changing your game plan. You're either going for the quad twist or you're not. That, to me, anyways, that's the way I feel. We always went for the quad sow. We never changed it. You never changed your game plan. You did what you do in practice. You practice it every day in your program, and you do that in competition, whether it works or not.
Right.
So I wonder a little bit if they had been practicing the quad twist at home in their run through, but then they decided the last minute not to do the quad twist, but then it kind of spooks you, and you have the adrenaline, and you're used to with this adrenaline doing a quad. And the same thing happened with the French. When they took out their quad, they missed the triple. So I wonder if like opening with that twist kind of spooked Alexa a little bit. Like, oh my God. And then you start thinking so much. I can't make another mistake. I can't make another mistake. And then what do? You make another mistake.
Right.
Have you noticed that their social media has really increased over the last year? She's gotten mouthier. She fights with people on social media, arguing with Phil Hirsch immediately after their long program. Like, what is your take on that? Because like they don't really have the results, but she does kind of make herself a martyr for U.S. skating. It's strange to me. Like I don't
like Meagan, when you competed, if you had like a great program, would say as much, like really thrilled for today. And then what do you do as an athlete in the moment when you're like, crap, that wasn't great? Because we saw a bit of this, especially from the U.S. skaters here, these diatribes after less than stellar skates.
I think like for me, you always just have to take ownership, whether it's good or bad. When it's bad, it's no one's fault but your own. And yes, people are going to point their finger and blame at you, whatever the reason is. Like if we finished 15th at Worlds, they would tell us you lost a spot for Canada for pairs. And I have to take ownership and say, you know what? Yes, you're right. I did. I skated like shit. We should have been better than that, and we need to be better than that to compete with the top skaters. Okay. I mean, that's how I would take it. I periodically see things on social media that maybe they've posted, but I feel like it's kind of like in one ear and out the other. I don't pay that much attention to it. I think that maybe what could be helpful for them is to kind of stay quiet, put their head down and get to work and come out and show, instead of like talking about it, show up and do.
Yeah, show me. Yeah.
See, I blocked her on social media because I said, this is not helpful for anyone. And I said, this is not positive. Don't try to pick a fight with me the week before Skate America. Like, because I'm not going to fight with you. And if you do bad, I'm going to be the reason that you know.
An athlete
your focus is in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Focus has to be like on doing your job, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's the reason that all those beautiful pieces that they have. I mean, their packaging, her costumes are gorgeous. Like you can go on and on about each of the pieces that they have ready to be world class.
It seems unhinged, I'm telling you.
Together, why is it not materializing?
She seems unhinged, I'm telling you. Like it's just a loose cannon situation. Like it's cute and it's fun and it's entertaining, but something is not clicking, and she, especially as they've gotten more attention, seems to not always handle it well. And I see that. Like it comes across almost like, I don't want to use the word cold, but standoffish. Mm-hmm. And instead of like embracing it in a positive way. There's also I thought it was strange the time to say goodbye stuff that happened and like on their Instagram story, and it was like, are you saying goodbye to the season? Are you retiring? Is this a cryptic post of emotion? Like this is just not like, save it. Don't make any rash decisions after.
The heat of the moment right now.
Yeah. Also, Vincent Zoe, again, what?
Oh my God. Well, I knew those. kind of going to happen. Unfortunately, I predicted that one.
You've been consistent on him for a long time. The cheated quads really bother Meagan Duhamel. They haven't been
cheated jumps really bother Meagan, like jumps in general. But yes, when he gets nervous, the quads get under. Not just the quads get under, then the triple axel gets under, and the triples get under.
But then, what would you say about my girl Satoko?
Well, she gets under too. I think she got a few gifts in her long program, actually, with rotation.
Yes.
From our friend Shinamano calling.
My favorite caller in the history of ever, by the way.
See, he was really strict with the panel, and then I felt with her he was just a little bit lenient.
He has to be. Japan, they
beautiful skater. She just needs a bit more power to clean up those jumps. And like the first year, I didn't mind it, but then they're still tight and under rotated, and it's 4 or 5 years that we've been watching her.
Yeah, so talk to me about this.
Because I'm like, come on, work on it. I want to see an improvement.
Because your stature, would you like? I mean, some of the pairs girls are taller than you. Yes, would you say this? Like, and Satoko, we see her compared to the other girls. She is smaller in stature. Are there female skaters similar stature to Satoko who do have those big jumps? I mean, I think of you as such a technical expert, and I hope that you coach. Like, if you were Satoko's coach, how would you go about potentially remedying that situation? Because it's clear she's trying. It's clear she's a hard worker and wants to address these things. I'm just curious where you might think that the disconnect is there.
I think that she needs to put on a little bit of strength so that she can jump higher and in turn rotate a little bit faster. She rotates fast right now, but she rotates like all on her way down. And I think that if she could put on a little bit of strength to give her jumps a bit more pop, she's going to give herself more time in the air. And so I feel like that.
Put on more strength. Do you mean actually like off ice, like build certain muscles, or?
Yeah, like maybe there's some exercises for ankle and like calf strength and strength in her hips and her glutes to keep those firing strong. Okay. I think that right now, like, she's so tiny, and I feel like they probably want her to be tiny because they're like, oh, it's beautiful and you're going to look nicer. But at the end of the day, I think that just a little bit more strength and power to her physically as well as to her skating could help. And maybe going back to the drawing board and like just working on doubles for a month or two. Just resetting the technique on doubles. Get more lift, get more strength, get more speed going into them. And once this becomes like a muscle memory on the double, then slowly integrate one triple at a time.
Okay.
But I know this is so against the way the Japanese train. Like, Satoko probably has a new long program yesterday, and she's already training it full, getting ready for next season.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I don't think Mia Hamada has a great...
In a different timing and training, so it's so hard.
Right.
Yeah, Mia Hamada doesn't seem to have like a standard jump technique for everyone that looks uniform. And it's interesting because Marin Honda is now with Raphael, and that's interesting. So I think I'm
allowed to say that concerns me.
Yes.
Is that okay?
These girls have an issue with rotation, though. All of her girls have issues with rotation.
Yeah.
And Raph, if she's lazy, Raph will yell at her. I mean, it might not be the most positive.
I've heard that this lady also yells a lot, that they have.
You've said that, and it's weird because she looks so nice on TV, doesn't she? She is like...
Yeah, Satoko looks like the serious one.
I heard those ponytails get a little bit of a pull behind their head if they don't listen. And so I don't think she's everything. I don't think that there's a lot of people that aren't everything they appear to be.
Yeah, clearly.
Very, very motherly to these kids, though. Very supportive. We always see her supportive, good or bad skate, you know.
So are you saying that you believe that Eteri Tudberidze is warm underneath the cold veneer, and that she is motherly to these girls, and
maybe in like the way that she can be in her, like, she's warm in her own way. But did you guys notice that when Zagitova got off the ice, bless her, I felt really terrible for that skate. You never want to see somebody do that. Zagitova was crying, and Eteri had a little bit of a smile on her face as she was hugging her.
It was so strange. The whole thing was strange. And then she just had like this look in the kiss and cry. Like she was just dreading the score. Like Eteri was.
I found it very strange, the like smirk she gave Zagitova as Zagitova was crying to her coach.
Right.
And they've
Yeah.
also like,
What is going on?
this girl has just won the Olympics. She's never been as strong of a competitor as Medvedeva, even though she obviously won the Olympics. She has not had that same record.
She's at her first World Championships, let's not forget.
And
Right.
they've like had them do shows. I'm sure they're not accustomed to. Yeah. I'm wondering what's going to happen though, because I think that Russia is going to pimp out Medvedeva and Zagitova in like all the Asian shows this summer, make that money.
They're here with me in
So
Japan.
if they're not getting the good Icarus drugs, like they may go through puberty. But I think it's
Yep.
okay because you know what? We have Kosternaya at home doing the triple axel. We have Trusova
And-
doing the quad lutz. Like it's
I would say, yeah. They don't need them anymore.
they don't like.
But I feel like Medeva
Yeah.
like can rise past this. I feel like she has like some strength and some willpower in her. And I don't think that she would have bombed at Worlds if she was there. I think
Nope.
that she would have skated well. She likely would have won.
Yeah.
You know, I have faith still in Evgenia. I really do. I feel like she has some will to her, and she seems like an all-around, well-rounded, well-balanced person. And I have faith that she's still going to come out to the other side safely.
Yeah.
How about the rest of these girls I mean, it looks rough. You know, you have some like there was did you see the Zagitova article? It troubled a lot of people, and I had to explain that this is skating in all countries, that Russians are just more open about it. That she said when you go through puberty, you should just stop eating because
Just close your mouth.
yeah.
I find it funny that the Russians are very open about their eating patterns. We've heard this over the years with all of them, like just so openly talk. Like I remember before Sochi, Adelina talking about only eating apples. But first of all, if you eat well, you're going to perform better. You are going to feel better. You will have more energy. You will recover faster. Therefore, you don't need to take your Icarus drugs to recover faster. I mean, there's so many simple facets that come along with food. And
Right.
the fact that it's so sad that the fact that these young girls feel like they need to deprive themselves of anything
Right.
just to figure skate, to
Right.
win a gold medal. Like, this is so sad. You want them to have well-rounded and balanced life within the skating world, which we know in Russia and really in China, it's not like this. It's you do whatever it takes to win a gold medal. That's all we want. That's all we care about.
Right.
And it's a sad reality there. Like when they say that type of stuff about what they eat, like it's really sad, but I believe it. I know that that's
Wow. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
and then that makes me wonder the type of performance we saw Zagitova have at the World Championships. She looked like she had no focus. She looked like she was in the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Could it be because she didn't eat for days? You can't focus properly when you don't eat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of unhealthy behaviors going on there.
Yes, not just with the Russians, even just really all over the skating world, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about Vanessa and Morgan? They get the bronze medal. Do you think they stay in at this point? What? So she's 30, he's 26. So they could.
He's so young.
They could keep going. You know, like they're.
He's so young. My gosh, I always thought he was older. They could keep going. Depends on what their strategy is going to be, what they want to do. Terrible idea not to try the throw quad at the World
I
Championships.
thought so too, especially because that kind of fall out of it. That was tough to watch.
Yeah. The day before, Bruno told me, oh, yeah, they're not trying the quad. It hasn't been going well in practice. And I said, she's going to kill herself on a triple.
Yeah.
With adrenaline, all she's done for 2 years under the gun and with adrenaline is rotate 4 times.
Right.
I ever changed my mind, but we never trained to throw triple sow in a long program. We never competed it. I would have killed myself the exact same way that she did. You don't even know what to do.
If the quad sow was that difficult or really not going that well, would you have just replaced it for a totally different jump?
We're still gone for it. Stick to the game plan.
Yeah.
We've had times where we're at a competition and the quad sow sucks and is terrible, and we still go for it because
Right.
that's the game plan.
Right.
And whatever, knowing myself and like the way that I need to train to be ready, if we would ever change the game plan, I would miss whatever we change it to anyways. So
Right.
it might as well miss what's planned.
Right.
But on the other hand, of saying that they should have tried that quad, like trying the quad wouldn't have changed the result. They probably would have missed it to the same extent that they missed the triple, maybe not taken such a hard fall.
Right.
Amazing recovery to get back up. Like, I mean, man, I did not expect her to land that triple sow afterwards. And I think that overall they had one of their better free skates when you think about it. The jumps, the throw lutz, the lifts, the twist. I think all their elements were kind of top notch for what they can do. So I think this was a great success for them in the long program.
Now,
sorry, Dave. After we saw that horrifying audience in Moscow at Europeans, and we know that there are certain audiences that will put up such a wall in the name of nationalism. The Milano audience was amazing. And actually, when Zagitova was faltering, when Vanessa took that spill, they roared even louder.
Yes.
Like all of this incredible Italianate enthusiasm. And it was intoxicating as a viewer. I was like getting excited. And even though like Zagitova was like imploding, the audience was so there for her. Like,
trying to help.
Yes, it was like a really, really lovely experience and such a stark contrast to what we've experienced in other areas of Europe. So I thought it was really nice.
When I was watching, Bruno had coached the North Korean team, and then I think Alexa and Chris skated next, or Zhang, then Alexa and Chris, then Kirsten and Mike. So between the North Koreans and Kirsten and Mike, Bruno was backstage, and I was watching, and then the audience had made this like gasping uproar and then this huge applause. And Bruno was like, text me, what the heck just happened? Because Bruno said there was no TVs backstage at Worlds. And I was like, oh, well, Alexa and Chris just fell in a death spiral. But from backstage, he could hear the crowd trying to help them get back into their program. So he was like, it seemed like an odd applause. Like, it didn't seem like an applause in which they landed something, but it seemed like strangely timed in the middle of their free skate.
Right.
So I mean, it was apparent to the people in the building, even backstage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about Team Canada before you have to go off, because we have Julianne and Charlie had just one of the most horrifying performances of probably for them, their careers. I don't know what happened. We have KMT. I want to know your take on what she needs to be, more competitive with Vanessa and Morgan, really having a great long here. And how about my boyfriend, Drew? What is he, what is in store for him? So,
well, let's start with Drew and Kemi. I mean, they were the second alternates to come to Worlds. Dylan and Lubov said they didn't want to continue their career, so Drew and Kemi kind of got the call. They don't have a triple twist. So they came into Worlds knowing that they were doing a short program.
Right.
Like they knew the reality. But then they arrive at Worlds. Drew gets no luggage. It might imagine it's their first World Championships. What if they never go back to Worlds? You need to find a way to compete. Mm-hmm. So they went. They had Adea, the skate company from Italy, provide him with new skates. Some company gave him blades. He went on the ice the day before the short, did a practice in brand new skates, brand new blades. He went to Zara and bought himself, or H&M or something, bought himself a costume. She had no costume because her dress was with his. So Kirsten lent her a bodysuit. So, I mean, they were like all out of sorts. Like, this is not the way you dream your World Championship debut is going to be, right? And then just because the world is a funny place, Drew lands his triple toe with his brand new skates perfectly, and Kemi misses hers with her nice old comfy skates because the world is cruel, and that happens.
Because sometimes. My boyfriend Drew is amazing,
Drew was amazing, and he is amazing. A lot of potential there. They need the triple twist to be competitive because they have everything else. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that they scored as high as they did and finished as close to making the long as they did without a triple twist and with an error on their jump shows you that the judges really do enjoy their skating, and there's a lot of really great qualities. Julianne and Charlie were just having a bad day. Not the right time to have a bad day. Right. Maybe they didn't take their training as seriously between Olympics and Worlds. Maybe they didn't look in top shape, and that's kind of what happens. Right. And
no, I hope more up and down, because every summer, like when I went to watch them train, you're like, nope, KMT is going to be number 2 in Canada. And then she, had the concussion, so we didn't see that. But Julianne and Charlie, they do have ups and downs. Yeah. Like they will look good at a Grand Prix, and then be rough. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really understand why. They were so consistent. I was like, Julianne is going to be one of those skaters that just will never make a mistake for her entire career. That was a few years ago, what I thought about them. I think that maybe they have to figure out like a consistency to their training, that they can bring a consistency to competition. Again, I don't train with them. I don't know how they train really. I think that they'll need to spend the summer maybe trying to like make over themselves. It would be really cool to see them come out with a look, like not even just music and choreography wise, like a look, like maybe she does something to her hair or her body. I don't know. I just can imagine like they come out in August or September and it's like, whoa, who are these people? I think that could really grab your attention. And I feel like that could be something that makes them pop again and can set them back on the track.
Identity, because right now I've always enjoyed their skating, but I can't quite pinpoint what they are and who they are, and how they skate. Yeah.
And Charlie is very, very strong, a very great skater, a very great partner. Kirsten and Mike kind of I think that they skated the best that they could. I don't think that they could expect much more. I think them, in a similar way to Deanna and Nate, for a short program, they need something that's special. Yeah. I don't know what it is, though. I don't know, like...
Are they still practicing flips? Because she can land a triple loop and a triple flip.
They can land triple loops and triple flips. So could it be adding a jump like that? Or working to get that twist as massive as the Germans? I mean, you need something, I feel like, in the short program, or you kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Right.
And... I also don't know what type of rule changes they're going to be making this year, so that could affect what Kirsten and Mike decide to do. I definitely think that this long program that they had, top class, beautiful long program in every level, they'll need to go to the drawing board and come out with 2 amazing programs this year, like for the upcoming year, which I'm sure they're brainstorming and trying to do. But for them, I think the key is the short program, finding something in that short program, because you know, the Russians and the Germans are going to have these twists, and the Chinese as well, and you're going to get lost in those short programs if you don't have something special. Right. And I feel like if they could work on another jump or something to make them stand out more.
Yeah. I think the Italians will be around next year. Both teams, either team.
I hope they do. Mm-hmm. They've improved so much. I feel like it would be so sad that now they're starting to hit their stride and they're improving. It would be so sad for them to stop now.
Right.
But I really have no idea what their plans are. I know that Anna and Andre's wife Anna, the ice dancer, they did plan to retire together, but maybe they're going to change their minds.
Yeah. Yeah, and how about what do you make of Nathan turning it around so much? Were you surprised at all to see him?
No, I knew he would do it. The pressure of the Olympics was gone away. The media attention was gone away. I had no doubt that he was going to nail it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah. Ask me that next question.
Yes.
Oh. Well, I was curious your take on Nathan's arm position in the air, because he does one instead of this one. I didn't know if you had an opinion on that.
You know what? I only noticed it in the replay of the long program at Worlds. I was like, ooh, that's interesting. He has a funny arm position.
Yeah.
This is something that I've noticed now in some replays of pair skating, for example, is because I always rotate my jumps and my throws like both arms in the chest, and a twist with one arm behind. I don't know why. That's just how I was taught. But I noticed a lot of girls doing throws like this, and a lot of the times I'm seeing the ones that rotate throws, one arm behind and one arm in front, they get loose and wild and they can't land the throw as nicely. So it was just like a small observation that I made at the World Championships, some of the slow-mo videos, in thinking that I think rotating with both your arms into your chest is a lot safer and more controllable.
Yeah.
Again, everybody learns things differently, but for me, I found it strange how many pair skaters I saw do throws like this. And I was like, well, why wouldn't they just want to make their throw feel like their own jump? Isn't that what you want?
Right.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Now, will you be doing a triple Lutz in your show performance?
No, but maybe at the Adult World Championships one day. No. We just made some fun show numbers. We have a throw triple sow. Maybe one day when we're feeling good, we'll try to throw quad in the show. I did do that once and I killed myself, so I'm a little scared to try it again. But you never know. We got some new fun lifts, new fun choreography. We worked with Jeff Buttle on one of our numbers. Now it's time to explore the side away from the rules. We've always felt limited by a lot of the rules in pair skating, and trying so hard to just play the system in the best way that we can.
I want you to do the throw into the jump. The throw into the side-by-side jump needs to be in one of your programs.
It is. Throw, triple sow, double toe combo.
Yes.
Eric meets me on the last double toe. Yeah, it's in one of our show numbers.
Why not a triple? You know.
But it might be. You never know.
You know, you don't know when you're going to have children. You know, you only have so long, you know.
The first few shows, it'll be triple sow, double toe. But you just wait. It will be a triple sow, triple toe, double toe by...
Yeah, you have to beat these Russian girls on Instagram. You know, like these Russians are really... They are such showboats, you know. I think you know.
It's really impressive, though. Actually,
it is.
I enjoy watching.
Ugh, it's like when Gracie first did that Instagram video when she like wanted to show up Ashley in that one summer, and unfortunately, yeah. Well, go skate, go have fun, and we will talk to you later. Thanks, Meagan.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Well, after that brief pause, Meagan had to go earn the money in Japan. So, Jonathan.
God, I thought she'd never leave.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know I could listen to her discuss all of this for a long time.
No, she's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the worlds after the Olympics.
So let's talk about a couple things with this. One of which is, obviously, as you may know, there's a bit of burnout at the end. You know what I mean? Something about Junior Worlds was fascinating because the level was different, obviously, except for all the female quads.
And it was new.
But they were. I mean, even though we were familiar, it was a change up of scenery, and there was a change up in a lot of results here, which were very exciting, and yet it was hard to be as motivated as a viewer, which I think is always normal. I even think back to 1994. When I first really had the memory of being like, well, why does anyone care if they don't do well here at World?
Yes.
It's not the Olympics, you know. But another thing that was difficult for me is with the time change being in Europe, or the event being in Europe, the way that time change works, it's difficult to watch live. Mm-hmm. And when you watch something live, it is just so much more exciting. I don't mean live as in person, I mean in real time. Mm-hmm. Because I never wait. I always look up the results. And then inevitably you're just watching, knowing the result. So of course it creates a totally different viewing experience. But also viewing these were very difficult. Mm-hmm. I don't know, the copyright police from every angle were just coming out of the woodwork to block every video.
And randomly, and also it doesn't help the sport grow to your eventual audience. So
you need exposure. And you know, ISU was blocking some, and I just thought, then ISU, where do you want me to go? I'm trying to go to Ice Network, and yet that one is always blurry for me. And then I even called the Ice Network support, and they're like, it's your browser. And I was like, it's not my browser. Your 300 ads that I keep watching are in crystal. I don't know. The whole thing was like a nightmare for me. And then it taints it. And I'm like, well, I don't even know why I'm watching. I know the result, you know. Like,
yeah, it was a rough one to get through. I just didn't feel the interest level.
Yeah, because there were some exciting moments. It wasn't that like the competition was void of exciting moments and total like switcheroo results that were really fun and shocking in some ways. But
to me, like, I don't know, and we'll perhaps another person will have a different opinion, but to me this didn't taint Zagitova's Olympic win. To me, the fact that she didn't win here because, well, I think that it can cement, like in Aliona's case, I think this just cemented her Olympic, but I don't feel necessarily tarnished, that Zagitova's medal is tarnished, because this is like your end down, run-of-the-mill win. You're like, yes, Caitlin Osman beat Zagitova, but at some point it's like, yeah, they beat her when she had the flu, was run down, hit by a truck, and...
Right. It wasn't, I mean, thrilling for Caitlin to have won. Mm-hmm. But of course, like, if Caitlin was like, I knew I was going to beat Zagitova, she wanted Zagitova to show up, and for her to have beaten her would have been a much more exciting competition. But Zagitova had solidified her consistency and her quality in what she was doing long before the Olympics. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like Adelina. If Adelina had gone to Worlds and had this moment, we would have been all too ready for it, you know? So
yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought, Osmond had a turnout on one of her jumps, and Nathan also, landed all those quads, but they didn't all have perfect landings. And I think it is sad to me that we don't see those skates with the perfect landings every time, that you want the Michelle Kwan performance with the edges, coming out of the jumps that we come to expect. It is a little disheartening to me at the end of a Worlds to see. I also was just really sick of a lot of these programs and a lot of the music and...
Well, and that's one of those things, like when you're looking at like a Worlds recap, even in general, but especially in an Olympic year, it's almost even more so about what's to come than what just happened. You know what I mean? It leaves more questions than answers always, I think.
Yeah, I thought, so some of those questions. So in the men, Nathan and Shoma, I think they will continue to be competitive. That's my...
And I'm excited to see that rivalry. They need each other. There seems to be a real, on social media, a Japanese backlash among certain Hanyu fans, perhaps in particular. And we know the Hanyu fans can be as fanatical as the Virtue Moyer fans. Like, I think that there's a real harshness that they bring in their assessment of Nathan. But I'm excited to see what happens. It was nice to see Nathan and Roth be a little bit more chummy in the kiss and cry again. But
so a lot of times when it becomes harsh, it means that someone's a threat. So it's the same way the Virtue and Moyer fans go after the French, or the French go after Virtue and Moyer. That means that other person is a threat most of the time.
Right.
And we know that Hanyu was very fixated on Nathan to the point that he was trying the quad lets himself and then getting injured. So I think it'll be interesting when Hanyu comes back to kind of see where that goes. Yeah. What? I don't know. I think it's interesting because Jason Brown is getting programs to stay around and figuring out if he's with Corey, with Frank, splitting like Vincent Zoe, like what is going on there. And I'm interested to see this +5 GOE that they're instating. Some people think it's going to give them more of a chance, but we're already going to such a quad realm that maybe Jason could be competitive, but I think it's going to be... I think it'll even out. Like, I think it'll be... Maybe he'll get a couple medals at first, but I think that if you can't do the quads, I think it's for everyone. I think that the way the sport is going, for better or worse, I don't know. I don't think you can stop it. I'll put it that way. We saw Trusova doing the quad lots today. I mean...
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But almost like more than like a holy cow, it was almost just like a, oh, God.
Yes.
That response for me, I was like, oh, my God. She's literally going to just like hurl herself out of that rink one day. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
And Kosternaya doing the triple axel was very impressive. I was more impressed by... Oh, well, I can't say. I was impressed by both. So,
Dave, moment of honesty. I didn't see that.
She did
and one of her biggest fans, I thought.
From a really cool entrance, too. So, you need
I'm going to go do that immediately after
It was so easy, it looked like a double. So, and with the low res that you see on Instagram sometimes, it took a couple of times before it really...
And she posted it personally?
It was posted of her. I believe I shared it on the Skating Lesson Instagram. I've posted a couple things here and there, so... Or did Danny G post it? I believe Danny G may have... Danny G, I think, posted originally on an Instagram story, and then it was...
Okay.
I keep up with what some of these people are doing on their Instagram stories. It's...
That's why everyone should follow it.
Yes.
Okay.
But so many of them, I'm not like that interested. I thought I saw Adam was on Ellen the other day, and I thought, oh, yeah, he's not that funny. I mean, he's funny, but to me, it was lacking luster. It was forced. And
well, we have something in opera when they'll be like, well, they're opera thin. You know what I mean? Like, for the average person, they're probably not very thin, but by operatic standards, they're quite thin. And they're sort of like skating funny or skating engaging. You know what I mean? It's just a different barometer.
Yeah, it's like when you see Ashley outside of the skating world, she's no longer so interesting.
Relevant.
I felt that way about Johnny Weir, too. Like when he stopped competing, it was like, oh, you just wear costumes. Okay.
Correct. But the interesting thing is, like, obviously Adam needed to capitalize, and I don't blame him for doing that in his moment. But if he showed up and skated a clean all triples program here, he might have done surprisingly okay in the placements.
Jonathan, there are people that were very angry. Did you know? Okay, so there was a troll that appeared.
I already love it. Okay.
There was a troll that appeared on the Skating Lesson Facebook with a Johnny Weir costume as their avatar. Apparently this person had interned at NBC or something, 4 years, whatever, worked in some sort of social media web. The person who always posts those memes of Mirai and Medvedeva every time they're mentioned, and this other person took it on themselves to call this troll's employer and contacted their employer over this troll who I think was trying to get a rise out of them. Obviously, because I think that's what trolls are doing, right? Like, they're trying to get a rise out of you. So they called this person's person of employer because they said ridiculous things and said that Ashley should come back as a man and compete. Like, there were things I didn't even see. Like, I can't, you know, when people get too crazy, like, you always know, like, Greg LaRosa is going to comment about Hubble and Donahue, and like Grant is going to comment about Chalk and Bates, and they fight with people in PMs and curse them out, and then these people message me, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do about it? Like, I'm sorry, like, why don't you tell them off yourself or block them, or, you know. But they contacted this person's employer, and I just cannot imagine an HR person getting a call being like,
how did that conversation go?
Did you post on a skating Facebook post that
oh my gosh,
that Ashley Wagner should come back as a man and compete at the Olympics because David Baden will threaten first of all, David's not even Ashley's agent anymore, not sure if he's even Adam's, will threaten a hate crime lawsuit preemptively to get you on the Olympic team. I mean, like, Jonathan, the season needs to end, okay? Like,
we're all there. We're all there. Yeah. Thank goodness there's no world team trophy.
I would like you to put you all in the naughty corner, okay? Like, this is just like, you all are seeming extra right now.
Fair enough.
Look, like, we get it. You have a meme about Mirai and Medvedeva. We get it. It's like that guy that used to post parabens all the time. You know, what happened to him?
With the flower, yeah, yes. That's what he placed it to, yeah.
Yeah, what happened to him? Is he? I don't think he ever knew that we were kind of teasing him a little bit. Like, I don't know. I don't think he got it, but it's okay. Parabens, yeah. But it's the skating public is so crazy, Jonathan.
It's very intense, and it's really interesting how much must ride on certain people. You know, it's why, in a way, it's really tough for me when I do respond so emotionally to someone, because it's so much easier to not be personally invested, to just sit back and be like, let's just see some skating and just see how the chips fall. Yeah. But when you become so invested, it can be a very dangerous situation. Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to stay off of social media during the Worlds, and I enjoyed it. So I have to tell you, but I did see some things that made me laugh. But Jackie Wong saying that Brady Tennell deserved the bronze, and that
Satoko could do the triple axel. I mean, any compliment I'm willing to go with for Satoko, but I was like, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure.
Well, you know, he's become a real part of the system, and you know, he started. I noticed in his reports over the year that he started being a little more generous with, like, saying, I think Ashley's components are wonderful, and they should be, right. You're like, yeah, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, okay. And it's funny because, like, Jackie is, like, playing the game with Ice Network or drinking the Kool-Aid, you know, And it's like Phil Hirsch is just getting paid by them and not. I mean, he is fighting with everyone, getting Alexa upset, other people quietly upset over his pair comment.
But now here's the situation, Dave, and it's like we were kind of mentioning with Meagan. It's
everyone thinks it, he says it.
Yeah, well, in many ways, but also like he's saying it to get a rise. Like Absolutely. He knows what he's doing, but. I mean, that's for these kinds of like over-the-top skating enthusiasts to follow, not the athletes themselves. So what are you doing? Why are you wasting that extra energy? You know, that's like certain singers that will just like troll the reviews. And it's like, if that's where your energy is, you're misplacing it. You know, be in control of what you can be in control of.
And that's what I thought Alexa was doing when she got off the ice. I thought that she was preemptively trying to martyr herself. And I think she probably was upset about losing a spot and does feel bad, but also to take that on yourself, that you're America, like you need to like take a step back. Like if you didn't
into it. Yeah.
Because if you didn't finish in the top 10, honey, no one else from America was going to. Like no one else.
Exactly.
Someone may think that they would have, they would not have. Like it would.
It's true. Yeah.
Not even close. You know, like I don't. Tara and Danny, like, could they have done it? Maybe they could have been 14th or 12th or had a bad skate or well,
with the injury, who knows what was happening? Sorry, I feel like I'm with my hair.
I also think that like the pair field is pretty deep right now. So if you have a bad skate,
Meagan brought that up. Now, do we want to sit through 20 pairs long programs at a world championship? I'm not totally sure.
I'd rather see 20 pairs longs than see the 4 or 5 hours of shorts that we have to see from the ladies that can't make it out of Eastern sectionals and are competing for Slovakia and for Switzerland and all of that. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I personally don't care to watch that after a while. Right. It's just.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. And I know representation and people have a lot of very strong feelings about it and where their parents are from.
Well, and this like even in discussing Wakaba, you know, okay, she had redemption skate at World Championship.
Now that's exciting to me because she didn't get to go to the Olympics and I thought she was better than Sakamoto all season. Right. Remember, I said that I didn't think Sakamoto had talent. So, like,
she has talent. It's just
star
not as
quality.
important talent as Wakaba's. But here's the thing: Wakaba didn't even implode at her nationals. Wakaba didn't like wipe the ice, you know, with her body like the whole time. Like, and this. I mean, I sound like a broken record, but that is why are we watching? You know. Someone from an obscure country, you know, barely be able to do her triple jumps when there are very qualified other skaters who we would like to be seeing. Again, in that it transcends borders.
Yeah.
Would we have too many from Japan? Would we have too many from Russia? I don't know. I don't care. Same thing. You have to speak to it again. When was it when we had 4 American girls in gymnastics? And sadly, even though they finished in the top 4, like one was able to, But so it's like you're literally taking the 4th best in the world and saying you can't compete. So now someone at the bottom of the rung gets to compete instead. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, someone's always going to be the odd person out, and I understand that. But then there's such a disparity when someone is the best in the world, and it's and then you see that it's just
right.
It's a little hard to swallow, you know, like
And it's a question that's come up a bit with Canadian ladies. Like, obviously, Caitlin is doing great. Gosh, remember, like, when we thought it was all over for her after her foot? Like, an amazing, you know, big story. And Gabby has talent, you know, obviously ups and downs there. And some strange kiss and cry moments, by the way, that that we saw. But, you know, because of the results of 2 women, now we have a 3rd Canadian lady, but not maybe a 4th Japanese lady or a 4th Russian lady who would be much more deserving. So it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, Larkin's not at that level of competitiveness, but she's a lovely skater, but not
all. Yeah. But all of a sudden she keeps getting Olympic and world level opportunities while Wakaba's at home for the Olympics.
And I know people are saying maybe Elaine Chartrand has been a mess for several years. I don't believe that she could have done any better here. So and no offense to Elaine, she's had other, good moments in her career. It's just the last couple of years have been rough, to just be an understatement. But yeah, it's weird. It is weird to see that.
There's one of my favorite Dick Button, there's all those hilarious clips of him commentating. And there's that French skater in the Calgary Games.
Oh, yes.
Agnes Gosselin, something.
Agnes Gosselin.
And he points out, he's like, this girl wouldn't have even made nationals in the United States.
Yes.
I mean, now she would have, but you know what I'm saying, like.
Yeah, Jonathan. People are saying we lost 2 lady spots, or we lost 3 spots. We don't have a third lady to send in the U.S. There's,
right.
Look, that.
And obviously Mariah had to have known she was always going. Like, obviously there was.
She didn't know. So the tea on this, Jonathan, did I not tell you?
Please tell me.
We need to use the word allegedly, so keep saying allegedly just every 5 seconds, okay?
Yeah, very Kathy Griffin of you. And everything turned out great for her. Okay.
It did. Look, she just sold out Carnegie Hall, so,
I've that too. Okay, keep going.
All right. So, allegedly, Karen allegedly is having issues, allegedly, with the alleged boot company that allegedly had, the Instagram story, and allegedly she had to allegedly visit.
Not allegedly, they made that comment.
Not
right?
allegedly, they did make that comment. Well, allegedly, Karen had to visit them, and allegedly, they may have destroyed, her boots. So, that is what...
In front of her, right?
In front of her, allegedly. So, that...
Our boots are so horrible, let's finish the job, yeah.
Yeah, allegedly. And then allegedly maybe she's trying to switch to Jackson. Allegedly, it takes some time to get them and to...
Well, and if you're Jackson, having Karen is a liability.
It kind of is. But they seem so... Raj always likes to take photos of himself with all the top skaters, so he's a little bit of a star effer. So I think that he...
But when it behooves them, I don't know, that would be a real...
Yeah. So I know. I wouldn't have it as an endorsement. I'd be like, we'll give you boots, don't say anything.
Right, yeah, exactly. Don't mention it, for real.
Don't mention it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to think that's a little bit of a messy situation. I mean, you knew it was bad when Ice Network didn't even write an article about why Karen withdrew, or Tara and Danny. Now, Tara and Danny are in Colorado. There was something happened with her kneecap. She's got surgery. She's supposed to be back on the ice within a month, is what... the story.
And that, at least in that situation, you knew Deanna and Nate would have been up on what's happening there. That couldn't have surprised them entirely.
Now, Mariah Bell should have been keeping in shape because she had to have known. I mean, she would have known that Ashley probably didn't bring her skates to the Olympics. It's interesting to me how venomous some of the fans are that Ashley wasn't continuing. It's like, did you expect her to? Like,
she even carried on perhaps too long merely for that.
She never went to the 4 continents. She seemed like a bitter Betty. I don't think she was going to do the USFS any favors, and she certainly wasn't going to medal here. So I don't think that, yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I think there's unrealistic idealization by fans going on. But, yeah, I as for Mariah, apparently the triple axel was not happening in practices before this, so she went out and got Shinamano'd. The actual performance was fine, but those jumps are those jumps, and and for Mariah Bell, what do you make? So you're her. Do you continue to compete next year, being like, I could win or be second at nationals, perhaps? And there's going to be Brady, probably Karen Chen, maybe a couple others.
Maybe Star Andrews, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or is it time to then go to the show? I mean, she could make some money going to Grand Prix, but she would have to medal. Like, what do you decide? Because
So the thing about Mariah is that...
Good qualities. And pleasing skater.
Good quality. And when she did have that silver medal at, Skate America, it was not, again, because America gets so excited when any female, shows up. There was too much pressure, or too much expectation put on someone that maybe could never have delivered on that kind of expectation. But nice quality, should be a solid number 3 girl to be, at Worlds or something like that. Raphael has had such a reputation as a technical coach. Some great Japanese skater are seeking out his technical advice. as someone who does not do triple jumps, sometimes his technique seems to confuse me, and some people do not improve.
Jenny always felt that he ruined Michelle's Lutz. She really thought that he ruined her Lutz. She thought that it was better with Frank. So,
well, there's something seemingly, and again, I cannot speak to this, but as an observer, something seemingly unorthodox about part of it, and maybe a little jarring even visually at times. And, you know, Mariah may have done too many double toe loops in the past, but she had a pretty steady basis of technique, and that seems to have been futzed with that didn't enhance it.
She's not the world's best jumper. Look, she's got these long limbs. Her feet are a little apart in the air. That's to bring them together. I think, you know, she's probably, because she's tall, it's kind of like Nastylyukin in gymnastics where they have to spend more time in their core and their core strength. I know Evan Lysacek talked about that a lot. When you are taller and you have the longer limbs and you're kind of long and lean, you have to really have a strong core to bring everything in, and it's going to be harder, but you can make it a strength. Without a great triple, there are so many talented skaters from other countries coming up. I wonder, you know, I'm like, maybe give it one more year, and then look, Disney, I am sure will offer her a contract to star. She could be Belle. She wouldn't need a wig, you know, like enjoy life. I mean, unfortunately, there aren't better shows that are on the full ice surface, you know, because
That's the thing. It's like they would retire and then what? You know, like you say, like make some money in some shows.
Yeah. I just think she's got this sister, you know, they could have fun together. I think they could have fun. I don't think it's necessarily going to get that much better for them. I mean, she could do well. I think she could make another world. It depends what her goals are, you know, but I think that they do have to be realistic at a certain point. So, I don't know.
I'm looking for, are we allowed to talk about rumors that may or may not involve Wakaba Higuchi?
Yeah. Always.
Allegedly, she's making a shift, coaching line.
To Brian Orser, allegedly,
Yeah, which could be very interesting. I would imagine, actually, David Wilson would be a great fit for her.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting what that does to Gabby Daleman, because I imagine she's continuing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about that skate. So
that was tough.
She's an interesting character. Like, she seems up and down. There's that reputation. She's willful.
Tracy Wilson, and this is the key. Tracy Wilson, I think, is a very Earth Mother centered, you know, kind of has a way about her that is genuine and caring, and I don't know. I respond to her that way.
She's competitive, I've heard.
Yes, in a good way. In a way, you'd have to be in order to get your bronze in Calgary. Like, I think that the unusual dynamic there, and this had started to happen with a short track, also with like when the kiss and cry thing gets a little too uncomfortable, one has to wonder what's happening here. And maybe after the disappointment after the Olympics, it's just time to make a clean slate of it.
It's interesting is that they looked like they were perfect strangers in the interaction, and Tracy was trying to give her some positive words of encouragement and.
Right. Well, what can one say? You know.
The interesting thing to me about Gabby's skate is that she kept making the same mistake in all of her jumps, and there was something off, and it looked like perhaps she was throwing too hard with her arms instead of her legs, like they were working at different speeds rather than working all together. But the fact that she never tried to correct or adjust that is a little strange. Like, after you do that a couple times, you think like, oh, okay, like I'm an elite skater. I kind of know what's going on here. No, we just continued to do the same thing on every...
Head against the wall, almost.
Yeah.
And that's why it was interesting when we had Doug Haw on, and he was talking about like, oh no, I think Gabby's going to come out of the gate. I just wondered, I was like, to me, it seemed like she was going to be rattled here. I just sort of sensed that she will remain rattled until she starts again next season.
She doesn't seem to be a centered skater, so it seems like she's either coming out of the gate and using that adrenaline to do well, or it will just wipe out on everything. You know, you're just rolling the dice. There's not a lot of calm. It's kind of...
I agree.
I don't know.
And speaking of centered and all this sort of stuff, it was a tough go for Carolina, not even for sentimental value, but just that hometown value. And they were so clearly behind her. And it was such a nice moment in the short program.
Do you think it's time? I love her. You know I love her. You know.
Yeah. She's done some really amazing things. I think she really is hitting the ceiling there, you know, and she got pretty close a couple times
The
this year.
long is becoming harder and harder for her.
How could it not be? You know what I mean? She, you know,
Putting together 7 competitive jumping passes. Now,
Yeah.
maybe with the new rules, she would think that with her beautiful extension on the landing, she could rack up the GOE, but I still think it's getting harder and harder to be.
But a +5 GOE on a double Lutz still only, you know, gets you so much. So, beautiful skater. It was a tough watch. I almost thought she was going to still be able to salvage a medal for a second. You know, she doubled the Lutz, but then things were kind of going okay. And then when the axle went wonky, you saw it go out of her, you know. And
It's tough because I really, really love her, but it looked,
it looked hard.
yeah.
It looked hard, and that's not what it's supposed to look like,
Yeah.
you know.
And how about Brady Tennell? Doing a good job here. Obviously, probably the skate she wanted at the Olympics, I thought. Now it's time to really learn to skate. Spend some time. Visit Tom Dixon. Work for like months just on skating and music and movement and just putting it all together. Because she's been... To me, it's like she's become very successful with average packaging and skating skills, and just needs to refine it all. You know,
She arrived,
Yeah.
and I'm sure. And these are the things as these seasons go on. Once you're kind of locked in, 9 times out of 10, you almost have to just ride the season out, right? Like I'm sure after Skate America. And they were like, oh, judges will go for this, but this is where we need to fix everything. But they still have to finish out the season. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that the advice has been given, and I am assuming it's being heard, but cannot be implemented really until
well,
now.
apparently they got the advice at Champs Camp to get rid of the music, and they wanted to keep it, but that was...
Honestly, Dave, it's not even the music for me. I mean, yes, it's Cinderella. Yes, it's like some stuff, but like out of context, it's just like kind of generic film music to me. But the other thing that's interesting is there's a unique aesthetic.
On the jumps, the wings.
Oh, Dave, you wish I was being so sophisticated. I mean, like literally the aesthetic of when she skates. And Deanna was posting pictures from the gala. And there were a couple that included Brady. And Brady looked like a pretty young woman. Her hair was down. She was done up in a more nightlife kind of way. And I was like, there is a sophisticated look you are able to acquire. And as vain as it sounds, you need to go Carolina. What would Carolina do? Like, let's try to find that kind of music and that kind of approach. And I think she's probably closer than some people think. To do it.
And you get all that free shit after the Olympics, so you can, you know, you see the makeup they all get and all those.
Everyone wore those eye things in their Instagram stories. Yeah, so
I think
it's clear.
She's going to be, you know, so when Tasha Schweikert went to the Olympics in 2000, Tasha, you know I love you. You looked homely. I'm just saying. Just saying.
And it's I know, I mean, again, it sounds...
We'll say awkward teenager.
Yeah.
Next year, full-on makeover, sophisticated, new music.
Tell Juan Salome, say what you will. It's a thing. And you will skate differently when you are presented that way. You will skate up to the packaging if it is done properly. And again, I'm sure all of that...
Lisa McKinnon, get some sparkle. We can dye your hair, straighten it, condition it. We'll make you over, and you'll be a top lady because you can land the jumps.
You come back, and now we knew you were right here. You're right there. Yeah. And then that just a whole new thing gives us a new reason.
Time with Lori and Tom Dixon, like not just a program. Like she needs to
in and does the program, but someone who's consistently there.
Yeah, like she needs to like really work on that movement and the edging and the and putting it all together and learning about music and
Mm-hmm.
performance. You know, I think that's the
The key.
you have to upgrade. And someone
Yeah.
said, you know, maybe Philip Mills, and I'm like, yeah, you know, if
You
you
can
don't
do that.
have the skating ability already, you know, like I think someone
Yeah.
who really is like a master of the edge, I would really
Right.
kind of work with. But that's just what I'm
But I
thinking.
think there are many good years for her ahead where she will develop. You know, certain skaters, you're like, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
You know, and that is my fear about someone like Mariah Bell. It's like what you see may be what you're going to get from
And
here on.
Karen.
Yeah. But with Brady, you feel like it's the kind of personality and the kind of skater that
Now,
that
Star Andrews, who's going to sing 3/4 of Whitney Houston herself and then put in Whitney during the last minute for no reason and put that together. I'm excited about that mess, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in for it, all right? Like,
It's
that's...
going to be entertaining regardless. So,
That's we signed up for that. That's great. Okay, and she skated well at nationals. Now the dance event, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently Tessa and Scott are the only team that's actually confirmed retirement. The Shibutanis are supposed to be on this all sports Dancing with the Stars. It sounds like Adam is obviously going to be doing this most likely as well. I imagine Gus Kenworthy would. But imagine that the Shibs could be coming back. It looks like Hawaii and Baker, they have asked to move to Montreal. Krylova is going to Russia. Supposed to be working with Terry's kids, potentially getting ice dance teams.
Wait, that could be great for a Terry's camp.
It could be. It could also just be more of the same. But you know, we don't know what was Krylova, what was Pasquale. We're not quite sure, so it'll be interesting to see that. Interesting that Weaver and Poge had Pasquale here with Morozov, and they were saying hi to DSC and Nikolai. We had heard that they kind of wanted to, I don't know, go back, and there's rumors about what could happen with Igor and Pasquale and DSC and all, like a lot of shifting and things being bantered about. What do you make? Which of these teams should continue?
So many things to say. Okay, first off, Hawaii and Baker, sad about the short dance because he especially is such a force in that short dance.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that at nationals, I was like taken aback by just how exciting he in particular was. And we know that in general, as happens with teams, I think, you know, she knows she is in an unfortunate position to know that he is the superior skater.
And that has seemed to affect her over the last 4 years. We've seen physical changes, both ends of, yeah.
How could you not, if you are clued into that, how could it not haunt you? But if Marie-France is good at anything, it's making a great male partner and a female partner who's trying to match that level. Mm-hmm. She will help that woman rise to the occasion. And so, you know, it seems like they're taking a lot of people, and this is a danger, right? I mean, this is with any flavor of the month, even though it's been a while. Like, they're taking some teams that are surprising to me.
Oh, I don't think so. Who's surprising?
Well, I don't know. Some people that watch the show, so I don't want to say. Maybe like some lower-ranked Japanese teams.
But do you know why she? That's brilliant. Do you know why she did that?
For the Japanese Federation?
And the Japanese judge.
Okay.
That's how these ice down camp work. She's collecting countries. That's what Linachuk did. That's what Marina does. That's why Marina would take, you know, Isabella Tobias, and that's what these people have capital. You are a judge. And
now you're changing my mind because my fear is, you know, because it could be a factory and it could really come back to haunt that. Okay.
That's why she has all those Spanish teams. I mean, Eric's husband, you know, who can, you know, yes, like that's why you take them. Because then you get the Spanish judge really in your camp. And if she takes Hawaii and Baker, she will have two of the top U.S. teams. The USFS, she's no longer an outsider in the USFS. They're more invested in her. She has more champions. You develop that relationship. Because now that Tessa and Scott are out of it, she doesn't have necessarily the next Canadian top team to really be, you know, in alignment with Canada. Because Canada if Weaver and Poirier continue, Gillis and Poirier, there's still this splintering of these middling teams. We know that Shane Ferris and his partner have a lot of potential, and they're growing, and they look to be the next.
But it's not their time yet. Yeah, exactly.
They still have another year or two of like development, and climbing, but you can get that U.S. relationship really,
I think that it will be interesting to see, because the potential for what she could do for Hawaii and Baker could be pretty enormous.
Mm-hmm. I think that they could move ahead of Chalk and Bates. So I think if the Shibs come back, which is still a big if, because maybe they'll do Dancing with the Stars and get a million opportunities,
Pretty politically savvy, and I have to wonder if they know this would be a great send-off for them.
I think that they're keeping options open, because imagine they do Dancing with the Stars, imagine they do another tour, they could, who knows? They seem connected with a lot of media outlet. You never know what can happen, right? If the right lightning strikes, I think. But I think Chalk and Bates, they're the most vulnerable in my mind. Unless the Shibs don't continue, then I think they will continue. But then they've got Ponomarenko coming up too.
Right. Yeah, this was a tough season for them.
Mm-hmm.
It would be hard if I were them to feel the reason to. And I don't think redemption would be enough.
But then what else would they do? There aren't shows. So are you ready to go off to school? Do they seem like scholars? I don't know.
Do they stay in the sport? I don't think so. In other capacities, Meagan will be in the sport for the rest of her life.
It's like Weaver and Poirier, they've never really found their own voice. To me, this is the time to go out. You got that bronze. Like, you don't...
What a moment. And I wonder if now they must be like, I wonder.
Because they're older. He cannot twizzle. There are technical limitations. And as you said, Hawaii can bake. There are people with ability and agility and talent. You may be able to survive a year, but I like, what is the cost-benefit ratio? So you have to medal on the Grand Prix. You have to get, it's going to cost you X to train, to do this.
Right.
There are no guarantees. You've struggled throughout the regular season the last 2 years, and then kind of pulled it up by Worlds. I don't know. That's that's a tough decision. If I were them, I know maybe they want to win nationals one more time, but it's like there's no guarantees. Like, there are these other teams coming up that have
Piper and Paul. I mean, I don't know. I'm intrigued to see them continue, because I really am always interested in their output. Mm-hmm. I know it's not for everyone, but I'm always interested to watch them skate. Yeah. So and there have been a couple of little shifty moments,
Weaver and Poirier have been hanging on to second in Canada. Like, they've not been...
Often Piper or Paul have let them be second. It's been that kind of situation. So
yeah, I'll be curious to see, because I think you can say now you think you're going to continue, but then when you start getting a program and training, I think we saw that with Jeff Buttle, with Lambiel, like, you start to get, when you get back into the rink, it all changes after a little time to decompress.
Absolutely.
It has to be really scary, like graduation scary, of what am I going to do next week when you don't have a job lined up? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, the party's over. I don't know.
I
don't know. It's you talk about that look to the future. I mean, for Hubble and Donahue, finally breaking through here.
If they did here, it was just going to be like, just close the book, kids. Yeah.
I think this hopefully this gives them confidence, and it has to kind of right some of those demons in their minds.
If you really look at it, it's been a slow even though there are big mistakes and missed opportunities that were happening for a couple seasons in a row, the overall trajectory has still been on an upward, in an upward way. It's just been a bit slower when we know technically it could have skyrocketed much sooner. Mm-hmm. But so I'm very hopeful. And again, especially with Marie-France, she seems to be learning so much with each season. So, when they first did what was their short dance that was such a moment? Was that Hallelujah?
Hallelujah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were like, oh, more of this. Because then they free dance that was like, now let's try this. And it was like, where she had the white cape and it was kind of religious and Russian
thing, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, well, that didn't work. It's a learning curve. So now when we did this season, it's much more on the mark. So I'm so ignorant. Do we know what the pattern is for next year?
We do, and I've completely forgotten it. So,
Great, great. I hope it's like the electric slide.
No, Jonathan, I've forgotten it offhand. It's something Latin. It's been a long week, but I believe, yeah. So,
Okay.
it.
Like written 300 times now.
Oh, yes. It's going to be like, you assholes.
Yeah.
God, you don't know anything. And then each person is going to comment and be the one to let us know. So, and because no one else is going to read that it's been answered 500 times. So thank you for that, Jonathan. Because I do get a notification on my computer every time. So.
Okay.
I told you. You have these questions. Write them in advance.
I know. It's like not meant to be trivia. I'm just, I'm looking right now. But okay,
I'm just a little tired today. I don't.
And my light is bright. I'm like permanently winking at the camera. Doing great.
Yeah,
great.
We're doing great. And then for the French, so I think they need to obviously try a new style next season. It's time to at least do something different,
and they will potentially feel safe enough to do so.
Yeah.
Also, you know,
they have a buffer. There's a buffer there. Yeah.
Buffer. And the buffer provides a safety net for them to explore and feel vulnerable in a couple.
And what will happen in Russia? Because they, I think, the word is they want to spend more attention on ice dance, try to rectify this. You know, they've been for 4 years. It has not worked out.
That's news that Krylova is going over there. I mean, for many years, I think that her coaching has been a little overlooked in the States. It never really caught on. Like, I feel like the work is good. So
I think it's political stuff too. Maybe not.
So I'll be really intrigued what she can scrounge up in Russia for them.
Yeah.
So
because remember, Natalie Pechelot really liked her as a coach. You know, they were forced to move to Igor as a DDA political thing. So that was, I'll be very curious to see what happens in which Russian teams. I like Tiffany a lot. There's something about her. She's that je ne sais quoi, you know, like that little
Kelka shows.
Wind in the hair, you know, like.
Yeah.
She's kind of like giving what Larkin is imitating, you know, like she's, you know, like she's got some showgirl. She's like a flapper, you know, like.
Exactly.
A little shimmy and shake.
The next year's short dance. We don't know.
And then there's a Broadway one coming down the pike that could be horrifying in a couple of years or wonderful. So
exactly. Or both.
Cringe watch, you know. Oh, you know, some of those teams. I don't know. What do you... And then whoever would have thought that Max Aaron would save the day for the U.S.? I mean, we touched on this with Meagan a little bit, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, especially after the short program, I mean, hindsight, you know, it's always 2020. But after the short program, I thought, you know, between the Olympics and... Okay, can I go on a super long tangent? This show is going to be 8 million hours anyway. Who cares, right? So for those of you who don't know, my dad passed away unexpectedly right before the Olympics. And you wrote a nice tweet about it. And so many I got a lot of nice messages through the TSL community. And it was really nice. And I really appreciated it. So one of the first nights back in my old family home, it was my sister, my brother, and me. Mm-hmm. And we had been cleaning out the house, and it was tough. You know, you go through these things. It was our first time seeing each other, and we were in the house. It was very emotional. And I was like, you know, the men's short program is on tonight at the Olympics. Why don't we all cozy up? Like I used to force you to watch the Olympics back in the 90s, and we'll do this. And we all, you know, giggled, and we're watching it. And we were watching Vincent Zhao skate his short program. No, I guess maybe it was his long program. Good story, Jonathan. Keep it up. And whatever it was, Vincent Zhao started, and we were watching, and my brother accidentally hit the remote with his leg, and it like went to a different output. And we giggled, and I was like, oh, who cares? It's just Vincent. Probably nothing too exciting is happening anyway. And then when we clipped back on, the NBC commentators were like, oh my gosh, it was an Olympic moment. Holy cow, never before have we seen something. And we just shared like a really big laugh about it because we missed like the final 2 minutes of Vincent Zhao, and apparently it was really amazing. That was a terrible story. Thanks for indulging me. But him going was a wild card because of this whole Ross debacle, right? But I think Vincent really proved at the Olympics and with the short program here. I know he imploded in the long. Mm-hmm. but it shows that like these are investment opportunities for younger skaters, you know. And he will be a better skater next season because he had this season happen, right?
Doesn't it also show you that Tom doesn't seem to get the psychological part of skating?
Okay, so two things going on. Yes, for sure, that over here, but just in general, giving just the idea of giving a young gun that idea instead of, because then I thought, and here's Max Aaron again, blast from the past. We still keep like giving him a nod. And yet it was the young gun who really went out. But of course, at the end of the day, it was that experience that saved us that spot.
And
yeah.
Thank God Nathan won. Because that...
Literally, yeah.
Interesting.
It's got to be a learning curve for, you know, when's the last time Tom had someone, you know, in the top 3 after a short program at the World Championships? I don't know.
Yeah, and he's not, you know, prepared for that. It's different when you reach this. And he is a hungry person himself. So that, you just know, we've heard stories that the mother is very intense, and Vincent had posted things about that in the past. And I mean, that's a tough situation. So that's
yeah.
Tammy looked exhausted at the Kiss and Cry at Worlds. So that was...
Well, she's been having boot issues.
She's been going through a lot. Okay, that's...
But you know, it is really tricky to navigate that kind of stuff in the moment. I don't know. And people keep complaining. They're like, well, why would Vincent go for all that content? And it was like, but the only reason Vincent was ever third after the short was
land things.
Content.
No one ever accused him of being a gorgeous skater. You know, like that's...
It's that or nothing. You could play it safe and be buried. Yeah. Or he could go big and maybe fail and be buried anyway, or might have an occasional moment. That's
how we knew that Camden was not Tom Z's work, and then we found out that it was Tom Dixon, and it made a lot of sense. It was like, okay, that was...
You know, and Tom Z has his qualities.
Yeah.
They just need to be married in the right way. And the combination of Tammy and Tom and Chrissy Crawl and like these people,
Drew Meakins and
I'm not understanding how it creates I'm not understanding how it gels together. It seems redundant.
Doesn't seem to.
Yeah. So
it seems that there's improvement, but it's not fully gelled.
It almost seems unorganized.
Yeah, a little chaotic, like a lot of the U.S. skating.
Yeah.
Like at what point does Mitch Moyer, like, does he get the credit for Nathan's medal? Or at what point do we say, okay, the U.S. lost a pair spot under you, they lost a ladies spot under you, and we're holding steady in pairs and men, but that was kind of a cluster. You know, like that was a little tougher, you know?
Men, you mean, but yeah. It's a tricky spot. After this, I was like, does someone go to an office and escort someone out?
I think so. You know?
Yeah, it's getting pretty dire.
And I was thinking, so if the Shibutanis wind up not coming back, what does Marina do? She's smart enough to...
And I said to you, I was like, why can't she spearhead a pairs program? She helped Gordieva and Grinkov.
Or I think she'd be good consulting and choreo. I mean, like, look, how many times is Marina going to pull out La Bayadere, pull Sylvian dances, give this to someone and act like it's, new?
Right. But she does have great qualities that seem underutilized, especially in our pairs program.
I could see her working with pairs, advising dance, singles, kind of working in that realm. Because she did help Nathan, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of work to be done structurally in the USFS, but they've listened to nothing for so long, so why make any changes now?
Yeah.
It's going so well,
Well, and again, like you say, like now they think they're doing fine because Nathan won. Mm-hmm. And Hubble and Donahue are second. What's underneath there, that's...
Yeah, it's more the problem. I mean, we saw Junior Worlds and we saw all of this. So it's a little splash of reality for you. But
exactly. Yeah. And I'm so... Dmitry Aliyev, this is the thing that starts happening when I care too much about someone. I'm like, okay, now he did this program okay, but that program okay, and then now he does that program not well, and this program okay, and I was like,
Rychenko was fourth. Honey, that's inexcusable.
well, I'll tell you that. I mean, the whole shift between the short and the free skate for the men was you knew it was screwy because Rychenko was seventh in the short, and he was seventh in the long, and he was fourth place. And that's just how you knew.
Great event.
Was really going on. Yeah. But sometimes those kinds of events are so screwy that they actually do hold your interest in a way.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Hélas, yeah.
Everyone watches a train crash or a car wreck, you know? I mean, you can't look away. It's like...
Right.
Oh, it was the men's event was rough, Jonathan. It was not...
Really was. But Nathan did do a nice job. So I was happy for him that he ends on a high note. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
To be world champion.
And I don't know if I said this earlier in the show, but with Zagitova, it was like the second time we've really noticed that a fully backloaded program when one thing falls and then they cannot catch up and ever get back.
Remember the old Dick Button commentary when he'd be like, okay, now she has to refocus that she's fallen. There is no time to refocus. Yeah. She's behind music. She's rushing. There must be a flustered quality to her.
And it looks like that. So
yeah, agreed.
It was
agreed.
It was agreed. And the Terry facial expressions really made it. Along with Marie France's coat. That was
gosh, I just applause. Yeah. Round of applause. I was like,
what was
wow.
She really likes to win, you know, in the kiss and cry when she's always like petting the man, and it's so.
Yeah. Don't blame her.
People leave in the comments like, why don't you talk about Patrice? He's a very good coach, or Romain. And like, yes, they are.
Of course. Also, when you say Marie France, it's a brand. Do you know what I mean?
And she wears the pants from everyone who is in that community. So
a large pashmina over them, but yes, she is wearing the pants.
She's a very terrifying person, but you know. It's,
but yeah, it left me, even though there was burnout from the season, it left me very excited because I think. It will be neat to see where there will be a lot of directions taken from and a lot of switch ups and a lot of further development. And so I will be excited to see where all of that goes.
And if there is an all sports Dancing with the Stars with multiple skaters, I think I'm going to make you hate watch it, Jonathan. And I think that your distaste for it could be hysterical. Or...
No, or it could be the end of me. I'm so bad at watching that kind of stuff.
Well, maybe I will make you consult or something. You don't know what I can do. I can be very...
Okay, all right. Get your fingers in that pie. Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, we want to remind you to hold an edge and look sexy. Bye, guys.
Bye.